Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of the Switch It podcast, where myself and Bailey talk everything football. Let's go to yesterday's game. Wow, I mean, our predictions were bad, weren't they?
Yeah,
They were shocking.
Yeah, we were far away from what the true result was in the end. Liverpool were far from the best, and you have to give Tottenham credit for capitalising on quite a dismal performance from Liverpool, to be fair. I mean, I don't know what you think, Harry, but it just felt like we were off the pace in comparison to the last time we played Tottenham, where we ended up scoring 6 goals, and we were just to have gone there and scored no goals. I mean, it was just a really bad performance in general from Liverpool.
Yeah, you could tell after 20 to 30 minutes that from Spurs' like their shape and all of that they were going to have a solid performance, and three central midfielders as well. Yeah, I mean,
I think
the press from Liverpool.
I think that performance definitely, though, I do agree with what a lot of the football pundits have been saying, and that's how important Szoboszlai is to Liverpool in that midfield, and how Curtis Jones hasn't really stood up to his role in the last 2 games, in particular, the Man United game and the Tottenham game.
Something we mentioned in the last episode about how with the press is the same as the United game, where is Curtis Jones pressing as well as Szoboszlai? I'm not sure.
The answer's no, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, I think Szoboszlai offers that little bit of extra strength, and I mean, he's so important to us. I know he's not particularly in goal scoring form, but in terms of an all-rounded player, he's so important in that Liverpool midfield, and his passing ability is great as well. And he can often find Mo Salah or Cody Gakpo or Nunes or Diaz in them forward positions really easily on the turn, just like Gravenberch really as well.
He's never really one of them, is he? Where it's like you see his strength from his goals and assists, like Mo Salah. You really have to watch Liverpool, watch the games, because no one really talks about Szoboszlai like you talk about other attacking midfielders or forwards more with, you talk about their goal contributions. But Szoboszlai is one of them where you watch the game and you see how he's impacting it.
Yeah, definitely.
It's more off the ball.
From a Liverpool point of view as well, there's a lot of chat around the fact that Lucas Bergvall should have been sent off a minute before he did score the Tottenham only goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's hard to discuss that really, because there's mixed opinions on it, and Tottenham fans will always say, yeah, well, he wasn't sent off, so it's one of them at the end of the day. But from a Liverpool point of view, you can be really infuriated by that kind of thing, because, you know, especially a minute later when the same lad's going ahead and scoring the goal to put Tottenham ahead in a semi-final, you know, a match of such importance, and Liverpool have gone 1-0 down after the referee should have definitely, in my opinion, it should have been a second yellow.
Yeah, I mean,
he took Tsimikas
the challenge was
out.
the exact same. It was the exact same, just it was an actual foul, but it was like the exact same transition. So how can a referee not give a yellow for the first one, and then there be a challenge that's the exact same and have a different output?
Yeah, definitely.
It doesn't really. There just needs to be more consistency.
And
especially because the first one he gives a yellow, and the second one's worse, and you don't give a yellow. Obviously, Liverpool supporters and the players and the manager especially is going to be furious about that.
Yeah, without a doubt. But aside from that, you know, it's hard to ignore the fact that Rodrigo Bentancur went down yesterday with a bit of a horror injury. So it came out today that he's fine and well, luckily, and he's back home with his family, which which is relief for both Liverpool and Tottenham fans, because a lot of people in the stadium were fearing the worst when he went down, and he was pretty much motionless.
Yeah, there was a. I think there's videos part of it, and I think he was already like, you could, if you look at him, going for the header, he was already.
He looked pretty ill before playing as well. For some reason, Jarell Quansah went down with an injury and was took off in the first half, and it's only came out today that he only went off ill and he wasn't actually injured, which was a surprise to me. So I don't know why he didn't say anything to Slot before he got selected to play. It's a strange one, that really, how he went down.
Yeah, when he was coming off, when he was walking off the pitch, he didn't look injured walking off the pitch. It was a strange one.
No,
but he wasn't amazing. You could tell he was a bit shaky. Misplaced passes, and when Endo came on and played at the back, you could notice. Obviously, we didn't come out with the result, but that's not the point.
No.
The point is Endo. We looked a lot more secure at the back with Endo, which is a surprise because Jarell Quansah's 6 foot, like 6'2". Endo's 5'6", 5'8".
Yeah, but he's a hell of a lot stronger, and it all stems back from the game last season, in my opinion, when we played Manchester United at Old Trafford, and it was in the FA Cup, ironically, and Jarell Quansah gave the ball away in his own half to Bruno Fernandes, and Bruno Fernandes ended up scoring from nearly the halfway line in that fixture, if you remember. And ever since then, it just feels like Jarell Quansah's ability and confidence has gone down since then. I mean, I understand that obviously he's got a lot of quality in front of him in Van Dijk and Konate, and his chances are going to be limited in the first team. But when he's being selected to play, you sort of feel for him in the fact that he should be taking these opportunities, but he's just not. And part of me thinks, is a loan move potentially the best thing for him? At a Championship club, or maybe a lower side in the Premier League, just so he can gain that confidence and come back a more all-rounded centre-back than what he is already.
I mean, I'm not sure about that one, because I think he gets a good amount of game time at Liverpool, because we always seem to have Gomez, Quansah himself, or Konate injured. So I feel like we're always left with 3 defenders, and with us playing 2 games a week, he's always going to fill in, get at least maybe a game a fortnight. But he's had really good games for us. He was good in that clean sheet against West Ham.
Personally, in my opinion, though, when you compare our centre-backs to, for example, Man City, I understand Man City aren't in the best form right now, but they are a world-class team at the end of the day. And when you compare us to City, their centre-back options are John Stones, Ruben Diaz, but then their third-choice centre-back is Manuel Akanji, who is an international footballer in his own right, and he plays in defence for the Netherlands.
Wasn't he good for Switzerland?
For Switzerland, sorry.
In the most recent tournament, he was really good in the most recent tournament.
Yeah.
Switzerland looked like one of the best teams in the group stage.
Yeah,
I don't know if you remember. I think it was quarters or semis.
Yeah, they got far in quarters, yeah. But when you're comparing that, and you've got Manchester City have got their third choice option at centre back is an international centre back in his own right. Our third choice centre back is an England under-21. And you sort of think, has this lad got enough experience to be able to just step up and play in the first team? Because he did come out of nowhere, really. He just came out the academy, and I think, he started playing a few FA Cup games, Carabao Cup games in the last 2 years, and then it's turned out that, it was Klopp who gave him the chances, to be fair. And, part of me is starting to think, is Slot thinking, do we need to be investing in a better centre back here, and potentially dropping Quansah to more of a fourth choice centre back, or sending him out on a loan move, so he improves more all rounded and comes back fighting for that place in the first team. Because right now it's Van Dijk and Konate, and there's no beating that at this point, is there?
Do you not think Joe Gomez has stepped in? Do you not think he's been playing well?
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I think Joe Gomez has stepped up brilliantly this season, but he's way past his best, Joe Gomez, and he's quite injury prone as a player. And realistically, I don't see him playing at Liverpool for that much longer, and that's just me being honest. And Liverpool fans would love to see him score that goal. Every time he gets on the ball,
please.
The fans are all shouting, "Shoot!" But
I hope he scores it when I'm at the games.
Yeah, I know.
And I bet you probably him.
Yeah, but obviously Joe Gomez is injured now, and Quansah's he came off ill, but he's going to be a doubt for the next couple of games. If he is ill, he's going to most likely be out of training and things like that. But he's just been a little bit off the pace for me, Jarell Quansah, and I'd like to see a really good performance coming from him in the next couple of weeks if he does get the opportunities. So he's proven and just giving Liverpool fans a little bit of assurance that he's definitely going to perform a bit better. Because them first 20 minutes before he got took off were pretty appalling, really, from a centre back standards.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think? Do you think we should have started with Konate? I mean, Konate, you could clearly see he only played 10 minutes. He was getting saved for the Forest game next week.
In my opinion, Harry, I would have started Endo. You saw the performance that he put in against Southampton, and he looks so settled in centre back, and centre back's actually where he plays for Japan, when he captains his international side, and and it's only when he was playing for Stuttgart and Liverpool that he was more of a CDM role, because he can bring the ball forward and he has got that shooting ability when it's needed. But for me, I think centre back for Liverpool, for Endo in particular, I think that's where he's going to get his football time, because he doesn't play much for Liverpool. He's more of he comes off the bench and makes an impact or helps defend the lead if we've got a strong lead in games, and he does so well. He's Mr. Reliable. But I do think that as a Liverpool fan myself, I feel more secure with Endo at centre back than with Jarell Quansah at the moment. And that's just because Endo's got more experience at international level and as an all-round football, in my opinion. I mean, I don't know what you think on that, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, let's move on. There's one more Liverpool thing and one more Spurs thing about that game that I'd like to talk about. The first one is we'll go to Liverpool, and I want to talk about the left back because, I was watching the first, 30 minutes of the game, and Tsimikas was. It's sort of been the same with Robertson a bit. Like they're very good players, don't get me wrong, and they always put a shift in, but they just haven't looked as comfortable.
No,
there's just been slight mistakes here and there, and you could see it with Tsimikas a bit. Yeah. And what do you think about us bringing in a left back in January?
Yeah, I totally agree. And the left back in particular that I've got in mind is Bournemouth's Kerkez.
I knew you were going to say him. I knew you were going to say him.
Yeah, he's the man, in my opinion. He's in my FPL team at the moment, and he's constantly.
He's in your FPL.
He's getting a lot of assists for Bournemouth, but not only that, some of the challenges he's putting in and is attacking, he makes really fast runs down the wing. And that, in my opinion, is what Liverpool needs, because it just looks like Tsimikas and Robertson just lack that little bit of energy that we used to have in Robertson, if you know what I mean. Because Robertson used to be so energetic, and it just doesn't look like he's what he used to be. And part of the question that you would ask is Robertson slowly coming, to an end at Liverpool?
Yeah,
and I'd hate to say that, but in my
opinion, I mean, I look as well, but
in my
facts
opinion,
are facts.
I do feel though that I think both Robertson and Tsimikas' time at Liverpool is slowly coming to an end, and which one out of the two of them it will be first, I don't know. But Milos Kerkez from Bournemouth at Liverpool, I've been monitoring him for quite a while now, and I would like to see FSG, just spend the money and get him in. Whenever
I think
one of our left backs do go.
I think there's two players that Liverpool fans in Liverpool are looking at, and one is Robinson, and I've watched more of Fulham than I have Bournemouth, and Robinson's a very, very good player, provides a lot of energy, but I'm just wondering, is he more difficult to get out of Fulham than Kirkez is for Bournemouth? Because Robinson's the captain. I think he's more valuable and crucial to Fulham than Kirkez is to Bournemouth, in my opinion.
Yeah, and to be fair as well, I can see Robinson going to a London team rather than a team like Liverpool, if you know what I mean. I think Liverpool...
Yeah.
I just feel like, as a Liverpool fan who watches a lot of the games, well, I watch every game, but I go to a lot of the games at Anfield, I just feel like, because I've seen Milos Kerkez, at a game before, I just feel like he's more suited as a Liverpool player. I think when you look at someone, you can just make that decision.
He's more realistic. He's a much more realistic
He's a realistic signing for Liverpool, and as well, he's Hungarian, so he's got that link with Dominic Szoboszlai in the team as well, and that's definitely crucial, for players settling in, that they've got an international teammate, especially the Hungary captain in the team with you. I feel like he'd settle right in there, and he'd get his chances with the international team as well. And I feel like Kerkez, for me, I think he's definitely one of the priority signings for Liverpool. If it happens in January, then great. But I think in summer, I think left back's definitely going to be an area where we need to sort out.
Yeah. So one more thing on Spurs before we move on, is their shape, which the main talking about is Spurs keeping a clean sheet against Liverpool, and it should be down to their shape.
Yeah.
And they basically, what they did was usually they play a 4-2-3-1 like we do, so with a 10. But instead they played Bissouma, Bergvall. I mean, they started with Bentancur.
Yeah, and then they brought on Brennan Johnson, didn't they?
Yeah, so I guess it moved to them with a 10, but the team originally was like the team that, Postecoglou wanted to play was, the 4-3-3 without the 10. And I guess Kulusevski must have been working hard to, track back.
Yeah.
So, the shape, it did look a lot different to, like, their defensive shape. It looks a lot different to how they've been recently.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I get Brennan Johnson came on and it went back to, the 4-2-3-1. But, they were solid at the back.
Yeah, they definitely, but I think they had nothing to lose as well. I think the importance to them of getting a result at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium was more important to them than it was to Liverpool, because they had in their minds that they've got to go back to Anfield for the return fixture. And I think everyone knows roughly how that's going to go, because at Anfield you'd fancy no one else other than Liverpool. It doesn't matter who goes there. Liverpool are always going to be favourites to win. So in the return fixture, I would say I am backing Liverpool, obviously, to make the comeback, and I'd say it's going to be probably 2 or 3-0, and it's going to be a solid performance, because all the players in a Liverpool shirt were posting on social media saying, we're ready for it. We're gonna come back and get a comeback win here, which I'd love to see, to be fair, because that sends out a statement as well that Liverpool can handle the pressure, and that we're not going to be unlightened or dispirited from other teams or other figures saying things about our performances that are potentially going to knock the players' confidence levels, when it comes to the playing on the pitch. I would like to see I want to see us come back and win and get in the final, and then hopefully win the final. And you sort of think as well that Arsenal have the ability to do that as well at St James's Park. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean that's a good thing as a player or a fan, is you always know that whatever the result, if you're going back to Anfield in the second leg, then you're never really worried, are you?
No. So let's move on to the game at the weekend then, which I'll be attending, luckily. So we face Accrington Stanley on Saturday lunchtime, and I mean, I don't know what you think about this, but I can't see it being anything other than a Liverpool win. My predicted score is going to be 5-1. You know, I do think that Liverpool are going to rotate a lot, but I still think we're going to have the ability to beat a team that is in the relegation zone of League Two currently. So there are a lot of places below us in the Football League, you know. Yeah, I can't see it.
Yeah.
I genuinely can't see it being anything else other than a Liverpool win. So let's get straight to the predicted lineup that we've both gone for. So after Alisson started in net against Tottenham, we've gone for Kevin Kelleher in goal. You know,
we both went for Spurs.
We both
Spurs
went.
Game.
Yeah, we both.
That was an awful prediction.
Yeah, well, I mean, it wasn't an awful prediction because normally Kelleher's in goal for every domestic cup game. So
I guess you're right.
Yeah, so I mean, that should have been a given really, and we were expecting Vítězslav Jaros to potentially play against Accrington Stanley, which he may well still do, and there might be something wrong with Kelleher that we don't know, but I would expect Kelleher to end up starting in goal against Accrington Stanley on the weekend.
That's a very strong keeper for a game like that.
It is, and it sends a statement.
That's why I just fully expected him to play against Spurs.
Yeah.
So you'd have Kelleher, Spurs, Jaros for Stanley, and then Alisson for Forest, but it just hasn't gone that way.
That's it as well, and I suppose as well from Accrington Stanley's point of view, if Jaros was in net, I mean, he's only played a couple of games for Liverpool. I know he has played for the under-21s a couple of games this season. But that sends a statement from Liverpool to Accrington Stanley that you can't benefit from us having an inexperienced keeper in goal, because the person who we're putting in between the sticks is, you know, he's probably the best second choice keeper in the league, you know, right now. And
yeah, close.
You know, the world. As a Liverpool fan, you wouldn't want anyone else in goal other than Alisson, you know, in a game like this. So, you know, I think that's pretty much a solid, that's going to happen prediction in Kelleher being in goal.
Do you want me to go through the back line, and then you go, because there's a player in the midfield that you probably want to mention.
Yeah, so you go through the back line, yeah.
So, right back is quite obvious. He was probably our best player against Spurs, and he came off maybe a little bit of rest for the game. Connor Bradley, I mean, what a backup to have him right back.
Yeah, definitely, and I think he's shown his ability. You know, when he made that statement tackle against Kylian Mbappe when we played Real Madrid. I mean, that was fantastic. That was incredible. But
that was unreal.
But you feel secure as a Liverpool fan that we've got a backup right back like that for when Trent does need to be rotated or he is a little bit off the boil. So yeah, definitely Connor Bradley at right back.
Then centre backs. I know Endo played a lot of minutes against Spurs, but I think he's absolutely fine. He's secure to get more minutes. I think he deserves it.
Yeah, definitely.
And then next to him, go on.
Yeah, definitely. I think with Endo as well, we mentioned earlier about him being Mr. Reliable, so I think definitely him being in the lineup's a good thing, and also he's going to bring that little bit of leadership to the team as well if it is quite youthful, with him being the captain of his national team. So yeah, definitely Endo.
He could definitely captain this side as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Just do the role of Van Dijk, I guess.
Yeah.
And then next to him, we've got Nalo.
He's an academy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Kwanzaa will play this.
No, so
the interesting position is the left back. We originally had Tsimikas, then Robertson, but we've put in Norris.
Yeah,
because we're thinking Spurs, Norris this one, Robertson,
yeah,
for Forest.
So, yeah, both Nallo and Norris are they're regulars in the under 21 team for Liverpool. You know, so I do think with it being Accrington Stanley, and we'd never ever underestimate an opponent, but with them being so far below Liverpool's level, I do think some of these players from the academy won't have any issues fitting into the team, and especially with Norris. I mean, he travelled to Spain when we faced Girona, and he was on the bench. And Amaranallo was on the bench as well when we played Girona. That was when we had a few injuries, you know, especially Kanate, and I think Quanta was unavailable to that game. But yeah, I think Amaranallo is going to get his shot here. I think he played last season when we played a couple of seasons ago. He came off the bench when we played Preston North End at Deepdale in the FA Cup. So I think definitely this is going to be a good opportunity for him anyway. So let's move on to the midfield. We've gone for Harvey Elliott, and I think this is definitely going to be a chance for him to get a full 90 minutes in, probably. You know, I mean, he's such a good football player for Liverpool, and he's unlucky with the depth of our midfield and attack right now that he's not getting as many chances as he probably expects. So, in this game, I mean, he's probably going to be considered as one of the most experienced Liverpool players in the team, and it'd be nice to see him get a full game in and potentially be the vice captain of the game potentially. But he's going to be a good attacking option in the midfield. And then next to him, I've gone for Trey Nyoni, who played a great game against Southampton when we last saw him. And he eased into the game. He did look nervous at first, but he gained in confidence and he looked a lot stronger than what he did last season when he was given a couple of opportunities in the FA Cup and League Cup, which was good for him because that's what Liverpool fans wanted to see, was that he just looked a little bit lightweight, but now he looks a bit bigger and stronger, which is always a good thing. And I've gone for Tyler Morton next to Trey Nyoni as well, who he's a regular in the 21s, and we've seen a lot of him in a Liverpool shirt, you know, in Europe, in the league, occasionally off the bench, you know, especially in these types of competition. So I'd like to see Morton get his chance here.
Yeah, I mean, do you want me to talk about Chiesa and then you talk about the two academy players?
Yeah, we can do, yeah.
Yeah, so as you've just heard, our first player in the attack is Chiesa. I think this is an obvious one. I think he should get a full game, really, for his confidence.
Yeah, definitely.
Also, for his confidence, him to get on the score sheet. I mean, a player of his quality should get contributions in that game, playing against the league. And he's just come from Juventus.
Yeah.
He's a great player. He
is, and he's quite injury prone as well, but I mean, this is with him back fit. I'd like to see him definitely get 90 minutes here. And I know it's against Accrington Stanley, and the player that Chiesa is, he's so good. But I think he needs a game like this just to get himself on the score sheet and you know, give himself that little bit of confidence and prove to Slot that he should be in the first team, and you know, he should be a regular player.
Yeah, I agree.
So next to Chiesa, we've gone for Jayden Danns in the central role, playing striker, and the last time we saw a really good performance from Jayden Danns was when he scored a brace against Southampton at Anfield last year in the FA Cup. And I don't know, but do you think that he's going to be looking to repeat that kind of performance, Harry?
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't he? I mean, when you think of Jayden Danns, you wouldn't think of him having a good performance to get minutes in this team because we have 6 great forwards. But
yeah,
you know, if he has a great performance tonight, you know, and we play maybe a championship team or a League One team, then he could get minutes in that game, and then that could lead, you know, he should be looking at this game like, if I score, you know, once or twice, or I put in a really good performance, that could lead to him. I personally, I don't see him, you know, progressing to being the next Jota or Nunes. No. But I do think he's a player who could get a good move, to a lower league club and be a first team player for, a championship team.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, that's it. At the end of the day, I think it's a player of his tenure. He was linked with a loan move at the end of last season, but that, I think, because he was injured, I think he ended up not going out on loan. I think it was to Portsmouth or Plymouth, somewhere down south, Jayden Danns. So I think for him to get an experience in a game like this against a League Two side, I think definitely this is going to be a good opportunity for him to get on the score sheet and also prove to Slot that he should be in and around the first team as well.
Yeah.
So then lastly, I've gone in the left wing position. I think this is a questionable one really, because Slot could go with, he could easily end up playing Cody Gakpo or Luis Diaz just to fill in that position, but I've gone for Rio Ngoma, who is a 17-year-old project Mbappe, as they call it, who Liverpool signed this summer from Chelsea's academy, and he plays a lot in the Liverpool under-21s, and he has shown his ability. He's rapid on the ball, his skills are unbelievable. So part of me thinks, because it is Accrington Stanley and they are in League Two, and Rio Ngoma has the ability to easily play against a team like that, part of me thinks that he might end up getting the nod on the left wing, and I'd like to see it, to be fair, and I think a lot of Liverpool fans were expecting to see him, because he was on the bench against Southampton. So, it'd be interesting to see that one in particular. Let's just see. But like I said, it could easily be Cody Gakpo, it could be Luis Diaz, but it could also be Darwin Núñez. We've seen him play on the left wing before. We can't predict it at this stage. But come Saturday, everyone will know who it ends up being. But personally, that's who I predict to be on the left wing.
Yeah, so let's go to a score prediction for this game for both of us.
Yeah, so
I think mine was worse than yours against Spurs. Actually, I don't know. I predicted Spurs to score. I went 3-1, you went 2-0.
Yeah.
So maybe me.
Yeah.
Right, go on. You first, bro.
I said at the start, I think it's going to be 5-1. I think the team's going to definitely be good enough to score a lot of goals on Saturday, but I do think Accrington Stanley might get a cheap goal. So I'm going for 5-1.
I've got two ideas. I've got yours, Accrington Stanley score first. What a moment for them, and then we just take control of the game. But I've also just got straight bang 2-0, and I am going to go for 4-1.
4-1.
Because I sort of agree with you.
Yeah, well, we never know though. It could end up being a game where Liverpool end up just blowing them away, and it could end up being a 6-0, 7-0. You never know. Slot could end up playing a lot stronger side than what we've potentially gone for. You just can't predict it at this stage, because he is quite unpredictable on Slot with the teams that he is going to select.
The teams I am going to. Do you want to finish what you're going to say, and then we'll finish?
Yeah. So the team. The team that we predicted yesterday was a lot different to what it ended up being, against Tottenham. So it could be any team. So let's just see what it is on Saturday, and we'll give our post-match analysis on it after the game.
Yeah. Okay. So other football news we've heard is West Ham have sacked Julian Lopetegui and to replace him with Graham Potter.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a bad move. I don't think West Ham have been good enough this season.
No.
The structure's not been great. Another managerial news is Sean Dyche has been sacked by Everton.
Yeah, that's massive that for Everton. I think since their new owners took charge of the club, I think that they've realised that results aren't going their way, and they've took the early move to make sure that they've got a new manager on the way, and there's two people who are in the running for it at the minute, and that is Jose Mourinho, which would be an interesting one. He's the favourite to take charge. But also there's David Moyes, who was manager of the club for a hell of a long time. He took the reins from 2002, and he only left in 2013. So he was manager for 11 years before he went and managed Man United. So personally, I think Everton fans would prefer. Yeah, I think Everton fans would prefer Moyes, to be fair, but it wouldn't surprise me if these no owners end up getting Mourinho in because of the name.
Yeah, and the last thing I want to talk about is I was surprised Villa have let this guy go. I think he's had good minutes as well in the Champions League for Villa this season, and that's Jadon Philogene. I mean, maybe not as many, minutes this past few weeks, but the start of the season and November, he was getting good minutes and he looked like a good player. And for 22 million for Ipswich, I mean that's good business. That's really good business for them.
Oh yeah,
he's a great player,
definitely. And I think that part of me with that signing, you sort of think, because he's such a good player and he's got such good quality. I mean, he scored a goal last season for Hull that went down as a Puskas Award nominee. When he scored that Rabona from the line. I mean, it was just unbelievable. I mean, it's a great signing for Ipswich, and part of me thinks, if Everton don't get the team sorted out, is it going to be between Everton and Ipswich on who stays up in the Premier League? And with a player of Jadon Philogene's class, you sort of think, he's got the quality to put away chances and score big goals, and that could be the deciding factor in Ipswich staying in the league or not. Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to add before we wrap this up?
No, that's about it, I think.
No? Alright, thank you to everyone who tuned in to episode 2 of the Switch It podcast series. Please like and subscribe, drop a comment to help us improve future podcasts, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Thank you to everyone who was listening in. Goodbye for now.